welcome to another episode of Drug Development Diaries. I'm your host Vihang, and today we are here with co-editor of the approved book, Dr. Naren, and we have our guest, Dr. Dhananjay Patankar, with us today. So, welcome both of you, and hello once again to all of our viewers. We are going to have another wonderful session, very insightful session on manufacturing of biologics with Dr. Dhananjay. So, may I request Dr. Naren to please take this over and introduce our today's guests to our audience.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vihang, for hosting this, and welcome Dhananjay to this podcast we're going to do on the book that we've all written together called Approved: The Life Cycle of Drug Development, published by Springer, and you have written the chapter on manufacturing of biologics. So thank you for that in the beginning. Dr. Dhananjay is professional in the space of manufacturing. He's got several decades of experience in manufacturing, specifically of biologic drugs, in many significant companies around the world. He's an independent consultant, and we always reach out to him whenever there are manufacturing issues that anybody has in this space. And the amount of knowledge that he has is just phenomenal. And he's been able to transfer all that knowledge into this chapter. So I'm very excited about this chapter in this book. So with that, welcome, Dhananjay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Let's get started with, the first things first, which is, the small molecules and biologics. We all hear we all hear these words. Maybe you can explain to us a little bit about the differences of the two from a manufacturing perspective.
Sure. So biologics often called large molecules because they are in fact large molecules, usually proteins, and they're made in living systems like bacteria or cells, which have been genetically engineered to produce that desired protein. And just to give you an idea of what I mean by large, a small molecule like, let's say, aspirin has a molecular weight of 180, whereas a monoclonal antibody, which is one of the important class of biologic drugs, these have a molecular weight of 150,000. So it's a thousandfold, about a thousandfold, bigger than conventional small molecules. And the reason these are, from a manufacturing point of view, of course, from a clinical point of view, they address certain diseases like cancer, which normally don't have an alternative from a small molecule perspective. But they are also challenges because these are large, somewhat unwieldy molecules. They're long chains of amino acids. Sometimes they also have sugars attached to them. So they look like a very complex structure, and this molecule is a little delicate. Many things can go wrong in this complex structure. A small chemical modification can happen somewhere along the chain. And sometimes it's actually difficult to even notice whether such a change has happened because of the difficulty in analytical measurement. And it may also not be easy to know what the potential impact of such a change is on the biological function. So there's some kind of a triple whammy. One, easy to degrade. Second, difficult to detect that degradation. And the third is, somewhat difficult to know the likely impact. So those are the sort of challenges in handling biological molecules. Of course, our understanding of all of these has improved over the last couple of decades. So we today understand these a lot better than we did, say, 20 years ago, because of improvements in analytical measuring technologies, as well as just our understanding of the biological and chemical processes.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is the three-pronged approach that you suggested is a nice summary of things that you have captured nicely. So moving along the manufacturing chain, we talk about quality a lot, from manufacturing perspective, and there's this aspect of good manufacturing practices, GMP, which is fundamental to all aspects of drug development, both small and large molecules. So what are your thoughts about GMP in manufacturing in general?
Yeah. Um, GMP or good manufacturing practices, these are really a set of regulations that are laid down and enforced by the drug authorities in each country. Each country has slight differences in the rules as well as how they are enforced. All the principles are very similar. Basically the objective is that each dose of drug that reaches to the patient has the same quality. Whether it is today or 3 months from now or 3 years from now.
Mm.
And that's the same for all the drugs. In biologics, it becomes a little more critical because, as I just mentioned, the molecules are delicate and more things can go wrong. On top of it, they're manufactured in living systems. So in a chemical drug manufacturing, you have, you put in a limited number of ingredients into a reactor, there's a chemical reaction. And as long as you maintain the conditions, it more or less proceeds in exactly the same way every time.
Mm.
With a biologic drug, you're actually growing cells or bacteria, and they are the ones producing the drug. And with a living system, as you can imagine, there's considerable variability. They are these are cells, and depending on how you have created those genetically engineered cells, they behave differently. Even when you maintain the same conditions in the reactor, there could be variations, and different things happen.
Mm.
So, when we talk of GMP, we are really trying to achieve that consistent supply of quality to every patient, like I said. And it's a little bit like like cooking. Maybe in a let's say in a commercial kitchen, you want every
Yes.
plate of food to have exactly the same taste, whether today or a year from now. So you need a very precisely written recipe. You need standardization of the equipment that you use, consistent quality of the raw materials, consistency in the manual procedures that you follow. And then there are always risks that something can go wrong. Maybe you pick up an ingredient from the wrong box, or you leave the stove on for a little longer than required. So these are all the risks that you need to control if you want to get consistent quality. And ensuring manufacturing consistency is actually very similar. And GMP practices and regulations are all about uh, ensuring that consistency and removing those risks. So you control the quality of the raw materials, you achieve robustness of the process, you achieve consistency of the manual operations, and so on. And of course, because these are regulations, you also have to ensure compliance to them and demonstrate that compliance when the authorities inspect. So that's really what GMP is all about.
Yeah, no, very, very succinctly discussed and presented. Obviously, much more detail in the textbook in your chapter. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. So maybe Vihang, you can take over from here now.
Yeah, sure, sure. So, very insightful discussion going on about biologics and GMP. So, I would like to bring everyone's attention to the chapter that's there in our book. Uh, how is this chapter structured? What are the different sections in it? And how will a student or a young professional who is reading that chapter will perceive their understanding of biologics and their manufacturing?
Yeah. So my objective in this chapter was to try and give an understanding, an overview, understanding of the principles and the concepts involved in manufacturing without going, too much into the complexity of the technical details or the specifics of the regulation. But I think it's really important for people to, understand, what the governing principles are, and that's what I've tried to do here. There's coverage of the typical design of a manufacturing facility, concepts such as clean rooms and closed processes.
Mm.
The reader should understand what actually happens in a drug manufacturing from the initiation of a manufacturing batch till the product is dispatched, to the market. There are different sections on some of the GMP things that I talked about, like control of raw materials, automation, process controls, how to implement process changes or improvements, production planning, scheduling. There's a section on validation, which is a very important concept in drug manufacturing. which is about how to demonstrate that your process, in fact, is robust and consistent. And finally, I've touched on a few trends, the new trends in manufacturing that are happening now in the biologics space.
Yeah, that sounds great. So this was in fact my next question about what are the latest trends in the field of manufacturing of biologics. So could you throw some light on this?
Sure. There are basically two types of, let's say, changes that are happening. One is in the manufacturing formats. There is one thing that's getting a lot of attention now is continuous manufacturing, where instead of letting the cells grow and produce the product for over, let's say, 2 weeks, and then purifying the whole quantity in a single batch, you withdraw product from the reactor every day and you purify it. So the benefit is you can use smaller equipment, smaller facilities, and that can potentially help reducing the cost. Obviously, if you're doing this manually, that would be a huge amount of effort and more risk and
Hmm.
probably not worth it. So it requires a lot of automation and
Right.
process control. And as those technologies improve, the the concept of continuous manufacturing is becoming more feasible, and people are trying that. Another format that people are looking at is what can be called as a distributed and personalized production. So instead of
Hmm.
manufacturing one large batch in one central facility, now people are making smaller batches, more distributed, closer to the patient, so that they can be delivered, immediately to the patient. And in some types of drugs, that's almost a necessity. So, and of course, it brings newer challenges in terms of maintaining consistency across these different sites, and also cost efficiency, because you can no longer rely on economies of scale. So there are newer challenges and newer solutions that are available in those areas. And the second type of change, or rather new trends that are happening, is use of more real-time and continuous monitoring of the processes, and then using the data that are generated both in real time and also the accumulated data from multiple batches of manufacturing, using mechanistic understanding, using algorithms, and data analytics to predict what's happening, detect if something is going wrong, make process improvements, fine tune the sort of control and quality, make real time decisions, help in overall efficiency of production. So these are the some of the trends that are now happening as we speak.
Great, great.
Great.
Sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
So, sir, for the students and young professionals who are looking forward to have a career in biologics manufacturing, what will you advise them?
So, yeah, for the firstly, I think they should recognize that biologics or drug manufacturing is a very responsible role that they would be performing,
Hmm.
because they're actually manufacturing drugs, high quality drugs, and supplying them to the patients. So that's a tremendous responsibility, and I think that it's that in itself makes the job very satisfying. Uh, and in terms of the kind of skills or what they should look forward to, there are two types of roles that you can perform in manufacturing. One is designing the manufacturing operations, and second is actually carrying them out. And when
Hmm.
you're carrying them out, you have to be very meticulous, as I just explained, to ensure the consistency and reliability of your production process, and to ensure that the patient gets the same quality of drug. So very meticulous, very detailed oriented, consistent. That's sort of the hallmark of a good manufacturing person while operating. But while they are designing the manufacturing operation, they need to understand about process controls, about automation, about cost economics, and also with these new trends that I described, you can be very creative in how you implement, say, continuous manufacturing or personalized manufacturing or online monitoring and decision making,
Right.
because these approaches are still evolving. and there's a lot of they allow for more diversity. So there's a lot of creativity possible, in this space for those who want to make this a career.
Yeah, that's
Sounds
very
great.
nicely
Sounds
said.
great.
I think that
Yeah, yeah.
the creative part is, of course, everybody's looking for something exciting to do. That's really
Oh,
nice.
absolutely. So, you have to be creative when you plan, and you have to be meticulous and sort of exactly follow the written procedure when carry out the operation.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, right.
and maybe not on a funny note, not vice versa.
Not vice versa. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Dhananjay, thank you. The fantastic discussion. I think a good teaser to the chapter that you've written. Thank you again for coming. First of all, taking the time to write the chapter, which is, I'm sure, not been easy. I mean, it's such complex topics to cover in one chapter. You could have written a whole textbook on this, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, you actually sharpen your own knowledge when you try to explain it to others,
yes,
because
yes,
you have to bring that conceptual clarity. You have to make sure you're not confusing, the
the
reader more than
reader.
what they might already be. You have to verify some of your own knowledge to make sure you're not
Yeah,
conveying any incorrect information. So it was
yeah.
really very rewarding exercise. You have to decide, what to include, what to leave out, how much detail to go into. But
Right.
as I said earlier, my whole objective was to give more of a conceptual understanding, not get into too much detail, because I feel when you have that clarity of the concept in your mind, when you understand the purpose of a regulation, it's easier to follow it. It's easier to actually come up with your own procedures and processes that are compliant at the same time technically sound when you understand why we are doing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, so we want to close by saying this is the textbook. I'm sure everybody's. This is a good. It's so thick. Like it's. I didn't imagine it would become like a Bible, like a 600 plus pages. I think. So
Yeah.
Vihang, thank you also for doing such an amazing job in terms of editing the whole book and getting everybody, aligned figures and tables and everything else. So yeah, the book is available, and Biang will tell you a little bit more details in the podcast. You will see information of where you can get the book. But the book, Approved Life Cycle of Drug Development, is a new book that is being published, and this podcast is about talking to the authors about it. So over to you, Bihang.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you once again, Naren sir and Dhananjay sir, for this wonderful discussion about biologics manufacturing. Very insightful, very interesting for our readers. And to all the viewers, uh, we will be back again in the next episode with another guest and a discussion about another chapter in the book. Until then, stay tuned, stay curious, and stay inspired. Uh, go through uh, go through the e-version as well as the paperback version of this book. I'm pretty sure you will find it very exciting and interesting to read. Do get your grab your copy and leave your feedback to us via comments down below the video. So thank you once more and see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vihang and Naren, for having me.
Okay, bye bye.